I love tower defense games. I find them intensely satisfying to play, watching streams of enemies get mowed down by my strategic placements of towers and then not having to do too much and just watch the carnage unfold. But I do like that tower defense games are now branching out to take on other genres of games inside them, and Digs is a fantastic example of this. Digs is a blend of a tower defense game, a mining game, and a dungeon exploration game, because you have to adapt to the mine that you're in and build out your own path by mining away all of the different blocks, essentially uncovering various different traps and issues and things that you need to get around as the dungeon becomes less of a fog of war. At the start of every level, you will have a pot of gold that you can move around the level so long as there is a direct path from all of the portals that enemies can appear from to get to it. However, what you then do with the floor space and the towers inside that is entirely up to you, and this is where the big strategy of Digs comes in. Digs runs in two phases. You've got the enemy phase, where a new wave of enemies will appear, and every time a new wave of enemies appears, there is a RNG addition or an upgrade that happens to the enemies. So they might get more health, more damage, travel faster. They might unlock an extra boss monster that will come this time through, or it might unlock a new portal for enemies to appear through. However, once an enemy wave is cleared, you will then go into the build phase, and you have what's called noise. Noise equates to blocks to mine or things to do. So this means if you've got 10 noise, you could potentially click on 10 blocks to clear them out. And they could be blocks to unlock new floor. It could be a crystal block, which allows you to do a kind of projectile style attack. An orb, which allows you to do area of effect style attacks or boost other towers that are around you. There are trap blocks which allow you to place like spikes or lava or something like that on the floor so that you can then damage enemies as they go across them. And then there's chance blocks that could either give the enemy an extra boost or it could unlock a random upgrade for you. And then there's the upgrade blocks, which allow you to either upgrade some of your towers, or it could increase the luck of better cards should you find more luck blocks later on, or it could be for giving you more gold, because gold essentially is health. So if the enemies touch your gold, you lose a gold. So if you're getting low, you might want to stash up on some more gold. You could use a piece of dynamite potentially, which allows you to blow up some blocks that are impenetrable by your normal moves. Or you can collect some gems, and gems acts as an overarching upgrade currency between levels so that you unlock more different tower types and then make them stronger, have better range and faster fire rates. Now all of those get taken up with your noise meter. And so you might have 10 or 11 noise to begin with, and once that's over, you can't then do anything except for rearrange what's on your screen so that you can then make the best of what you've got. However, because each level will have a variety of different portals for new enemies to come from, what you'll find with Digs that you don't get with other tower defense games is that you'll start off going down one path and you'll be thinking, I've got a really fantastic circular path, I can use towers multiple times, I'm double backing on myself, I'm really making good use of space. And then on wave 6 of 15, a new portal will arrive and it's placed right in the most awkward point ever. And then you thinking, right, I'm going to have to rearrange absolutely everything within my space again. And Digs forces you down this route constantly because depending on the level of difficulty that you're playing, you'll get anything from 2 to 7 or 8 new portals opening. And that is part of the RNG luck of the draw. And this is part of what makes Digs really great, but it's also part of why it becomes frustrating at the same time too. Diggs' balance is slightly out for me, and it's because so much of the mechanics rely on percentages of luck or percentages of things happening. And whilst as you complete levels you earn gems which can then increase the percentage of luck so that things become more in your favour slightly over time, I found that early on in Digs this game was really frustrating to play because I kept dying all the time because nothing was ever triggering in a way that felt like I had a chance. And then when I got a few luckier runs, mainly when the enemy portals didn't spawn right next to my where I'd put the gold, and I would have like maybe 2, 3 or 4 enemy portals so that there wasn't like tons of enemies to deal with. Once you complete that, you then earn some gems. Gems can then go forward to your upgrades, which then unlocks additional tower types. So things like really good flame towers that you can put at the end of rows that will cause like spiral damage. There's a laser which you can kind of put that constantly fires something. So if you put it at the end of a really long corridor, it will shoot out and cause lots of damage everywhere. There's frost orbs that will slow things down, but will do it in an aura. So if you've got them all combined together, you can get a really, really powerful like corner of your map that can be absolutely deadly. But making sure that you've got enough luck to A, get the upgrade blocks to mine, B, then get the card to actually pop up, and then C, have the enemies arrive at all of the right places so that you can do the right thing and be powerful enough. It doesn't always align. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And so because with digs, you either progress and unlock new levels and get new gems, or your entire run is almost a complete waste of time. Although I've spent many, many hours playing digs, I don't feel like I've got massively far because too many of my runs just end up as blanket failures. And that might put some people off because it was starting to really annoy me until I hit this weird tipping point where a few things were able to be unlocked that then transformed how I could then go mining, dungeon exploring and tower defensing. And then all of a sudden, this game become way more fun. So my kind of thing with digs is you'll love the concept potentially, but the first hour or so is really quite slow and intensely dull and frustrating. And then after that, once you've got more things to unlock and play with and more strategy to choose from, digs becomes way more fun. And so my advice is just hang on in there for the first hour, it gets better. And then as you get into the hard and extreme levels, again, the same problems apply. You're constantly thinking, oh God, this is not going well. But you've got more strategic choices to play with because you'll have increased all of your luck for getting all of these different upgrades and for all of these different types of rock that can be formed. And so you feel like you've got a fighting chance against the increasing odds that are going on around you. So yeah, I don't know if the developer will ever watch this review. I do think the early game needs some serious rebalancing. But once you're up and running and you've got access to all of the different towers that are out there, this game is an absolute joy to play and I would thoroughly recommend it. But you just have to go through a bit of a slog to get there first. So in conclusion for me, Digs is a great tower defence game that's unique and offers a lot of difference to the genre. However, I do think a certain player will appreciate this more than others. If you're a player that doesn't mind rearranging everything every 3 or 4 rounds because RNG on top of RNG throws up a random challenge that you wasn't preparing for or wasn't expecting, but you find that as a challenge to relish, then Digs will absolutely be a fantastic game for you and probably one of your favourite tower defence games of all time. If you're someone who wants to map out something and stick with it and just constantly build on top and expect a plan to go from beginning to end without having to up sticks and rearrange everything, I think Digs might frustrate you slightly because it wants to throw you curveballs constantly all the time, and that's part of Diggs' fun and charm. But if you're not a player that appreciates that, I don't think you'll appreciate Digs. A written review will be over on higherplanegames.com. Any comments or questions, leave them down below. Bye! Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplaynetwork. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.